The summer I turned 10, my cousin Mia and I spent every weekend at our grandmother's old house on the edge of Fairview Town. It wasn't haunted, or at least, that's what everyone said. But everyone also said the basement door never stayed closed at night. Grandma's house had a certain smell, mildew, old wood, and something metallic beneath it, like pennies left in a jar too long. The floors groaned like tired lungs, and the wallpaper peeled in shapes that almost looked like faces. Sound cue soft rain, ticking clock that night, rain lashed against the windows. The lights flickered twice, then steadied. Grandma had gone to bed early, leaving Maya and me with nothing but board games, a half-dead flashlight, and our restlessness. "Maya, let's play hide and seek." "Me, here, in the dark." "Mia, come on, it'll be fun." Her grin flashed in the dim lamplight, daring, mischievous, the kind that always pulled me into trouble. "You hide first," I said. I turned to the wall, covering my eyes. 1, 2, 3. Her footsteps scurried down the hallway. The floorboards creaked, then stopped. 7, 8, 9, 10. "Ready or not, here I come!" The house felt larger now. The living room stretched, shadows deepened. My voice echoed like it didn't belong to me. I checked behind the couch, nothing. Under the table, dust. In the pantry, just jars staring back. Then I noticed the basement door. It was open. Just a sliver. Light leaked up from below, a faint amber glow like someone had lit a candle. But Grandma never went down there after dark. "Maya," I called. No answer. I crept closer. The air around the door was colder, heavier. I could smell damp concrete and rust, the kind of smell that clings to your tongue. I pushed the door open wider. The hinges screamed softly. The sound slow creak, hollow drip, the stairs descended into a throat of darkness. The flashlight in my hand flickered twice, then steadied. Halfway down, I heard it breathing. Deep, slow, wet. Not Maya's. "Mia, I found you." The breathing paused, then shifted. Something scraped against the cement floor. I aimed my flashlight toward the sound, and the beam caught a shape in the corner. A crouched figure, facing the wall. Its spine jutted out like broken ribs, its hair hanging in damp strings. "Maya," I whispered. The figure turned. Its head rotated far too slow and far too much. Eyes like hollow ink, skin the color of paper left in smoke. Its mouth opened, not to scream, but to whisper. "Found you." I bolted. My legs barely touched the stairs. I slammed into the kitchen wall, gasping. Mia was standing there, pale, trembling, clutching the old telephone cord. "Maya, where were you?"
"Me? In the basement. Don't go down there." "Maya, basement. I was hiding in the closet."
"Why were you calling me from down there?" I froze. My throat went dry. "Me? What do you mean?" "Maya, you said, 'Come here, I found something.' I heard you." I hadn't said a word. Grandma came out half asleep, scolding us for running around. We told her what happened. She just frowned and locked the basement door with the rusted chain she never used. Later that night, thunder cracked overhead. I couldn't sleep. From my bed, I could hear Grandma's old pendulum clock ticking downstairs. Then, click, the sound of a door unlocking. I sat up. The chain, then soft steps on the stairs, bare feet. Slow, wet. They stopped outside my bedroom door. And then, in a whisper that wasn't Grandma's or Maya's, I heard, "Your turn." Grandma said the door was still locked. The chain is untouched. But muddy footprints led from the basement to my room. Small. Child-sized. Except they weren't mine. That weekend ended early. Grandma insisted she just have someone check the plumbing. She never invited us back. 15 years passed before I saw that house again. Grandma had passed away, and the property was up for sale. Mia refused to go inside. I went alone. The basement door was sealed with boards now. The air was thick and still, like the house was holding its breath. But from the floor vent near my feet, I could hear something. Whispering. 2 voices. Children. 1, 2, 3, ready or not. A soft thunder faint laugh fade to silence. We were young. Too young to believe that silence could be dangerous. The kind of silence that doesn't just happen, it listens. Mark told me this story himself. He swore it was true. He and 4 friends, Erin, Josh, Luke, and Hannah, had gone camping deep in Pine Hollow woods. The forest was the kind of place maps forgot, miles of pine trees that swallowed sound. They weren't the ghost story type. They were the drink, laugh, play guitar under the stars type. But on their second night, the laughter died early, the wind stopped. Even the crickets went silent. Sound cue, soft forest hush, static tension, Erin. It's too quiet. Lukey. That's because you're listening for something. Josh. Maybe something's listening for us. They all laughed it off, but that unease, the kind that settles just behind your ribs, stayed. Then Luke said the words that started everything. Luke, let's play hide and seek. It was supposed to be harmless, a game to break the tension. Luke would count to 100, the others would hide within shouting distance. Mark, no going beyond the ridge! Luke, yeah. Just don't hide behind the same damn tree. They all grabbed flashlights and split off into the dark. Luke covered his eyes, facing the campfire. Luke, 1, 2, 3. Mark and Hannah ducked between fallen logs. Josh ran uphill. Erin disappeared toward the ridge. When Luke opened his eyes, the fire had dimmed to a whisper of light. He called out, jokingly, ready or not, but the words didn't echo back to him. Only the wind sighed. Luke wandered with his flashlight swaying through the trees. Every few steps he whispered names, pretending to search. Mark, Hannah, Erin, nothing. Then, through the branches, his light caught something strange, the shape of a roof. A small cabin, hidden deep among the trees. He thought it was part of some old ranger station, but it looked wrong. The wood was scorched in places, the windows boarded. The front door hung half off its hinges.
Luke's calling out. Nice one.
You guys picked a creepy spot. No answer. He stepped closer. The door creaked as if it was breathing. Inside, it smelled like ash and mold. The air was damp, but still warm, as if someone had been there recently. His flashlight beam swept across the room. A broken table, a pile of collapsed furniture, something blackened on the floor that might have been burned wood. He crouched behind the wardrobe, a perfect hiding spot, and waited. Minutes passed. The woods outside were silent, too silent. Luke leaned against the wall, tapping his fingers nervously. Then he heard it, a creak of footsteps. Someone walking inside, slow measured, barefoot. Luke, grinning nervously. Okay, found me. Huh. The footsteps stopped. Then they started again. Circling the wardrobe, he peeked through a crack in the door. Nothing. But the breathing started. Deep, slow. Right behind him. He turned and froze. There was a figure crouched low to the ground, its back arched, its hair matted. Its head hung at an impossible angle. Its skin was gray, like something drowned. And when it breathed, the sound rattled like broken glass. Luke stumbled backward, hitting the wall. The figure didn't move. It just whispered, in a voice that sounded like 1,000 breaths layered together. Your turn to count. The door slammed shut on its own. Luke screamed, shoving the door open. He ran until the flashlight slipped from his hand and shattered. He burst into the clearing near the campfire. Mark was there, half asleep, startled awake. Mark, Jesus, Luke, what the hell happened? Luke, there's something in the woods. There's a cabin. But when they went to look, there was nothing. No cabin. No path. Just trees and silence. They packed up at dawn. Luke didn't speak a word. His hands shook the entire drive home. 2 weeks later, Mark got a call from Luke's girlfriend. Her voice was small. A's not sleeping. He keeps getting up at night counting. Mark thought it was stress. Trauma, maybe. Until the night he stayed over. At 2:34 a.m., he woke to the sound of whispering. Luke was standing in the corner of his room, facing the wall, counting. 1, 2, 3. His voice was hoarse, like he'd been doing it for hours. Mark turned on the light. Luke's eyes were open, but he wasn't awake. Mark, Luke. Luke stopped counting. His neck twisted slightly toward Mark, and in a whisper that wasn't his voice, he said, Your turn. Then he smiled. Months passed. Luke got worse. He'd wander into the woods at night. He said he heard them, the ones still hiding. Mark followed him once, deep into the same woods. The air was thick, the trees too close together. Then, through the fog, Mark saw it. The cabin. Exactly as Luke described it. He grabbed Luke's arm. "Mark, there's nothing there. You're imagining it." Luke, distantly. "Can't you hear them?" Mark listened. For a moment, there was silence. Then faintly, from inside the cabin, laughter, childlike. Faint, twisting through the trees. Ready or not, they ran. When they reached the car, Luke was shaking, mumbling the same words. They were burned. They were burned alive. The game never stopped. Mark took him to the hospital that night. The doctors said Luke had dissociative psychosis from trauma. But Mark knew better. He saw the suit on Luke's hands. The smell of smoke that wouldn't wash off. 2 weeks later, Luke disappeared. His girlfriend said she woke up to find the front door open and a trail of ash leading into the woods. He was never found. But sometimes campers still report strange laughter at night near Pine Hollow. And if they follow it far enough, they find a cabin. No one inside. Just footprints circling the walls over and over. And on the inside of the door, carved in black wood, "Your turn to count." The wind rises, faint laughter echoes silence. Some games were never meant to be played alone, especially the ones that ask you to look back at yourself. It started as a stupid dare. A group of college friends, Clara, Nina, Jess, and Sam, were staying at a rented farmhouse in Vermont. It was one of those old places with creaking pipes, floral wallpaper peeling from damp wood, and a mirror in every room. It was the last night of their trip, and the power had gone out after a storm. So, to pass the time, they lit candles and sat in the living room, the air thick with the smell of rain and smoke. Jess, grinning, ever played Mirror Seek. Clara, is that like Bloody Mary? Jess worse. Jess explained the rules. A game that only works when there's no electricity. You gather at least 4 people. At midnight, one player hides, but not physically. They hide inside a reflection. You say your names, one by one, while staring into a mirror in complete silence. Then, you blow out the candle and count backward from 10. When the last number fades, one of you will be missing. Not gone. Just not in the room anymore. Hidden, waiting to be found. Everyone laughed. But when midnight came and the storm hadn't stopped, Nina said the words that sealed their fate. "Nina, let's play." They picked the old hallway mirror. Tall, cracked, its frame carved with faces that looked almost human. The candlelight flickered against it, making their reflections dance. The wind howled outside, shaking the windows. Rain whispered like static on the glass. "Jess, everyone say your names." Slowly. They did. Clara. "Nina." Jess. Same dumb. Their voices seemed to stretch, like echoes that didn't want to end. Then Jess blew out the candle. Darkness swallowed them whole. They started counting backward. 10, 9, 8. The air grew heavy. Something cold brushed past Clara's shoulder. 3, 2, 1. And then silence. When Jess lit the candle again, one reflection was missing. They screamed at first, thinking it was a prank. But when Clara looked closely, she saw her reflection standing slightly behind her. Not gone. Just delayed. It blinked a second too late. Moved slower than she did. And the longer she stared, the more she realized her reflection was smiling when she wasn't. Clara, whispering, "Jess, my reflection's wrong." Jess turned the candle toward the glass. Nina's reflection was gone completely. Her spot in the mirror was just empty darkness. Sam, "Okay, this isn't funny." Nina, no answer. They searched the whole house, attic, cellar, even outside in the rain, calling her name. But she was nowhere. Except for one thing. In every mirror they passed, her reflection flickered for a split second. Not in the room, just in the glass. Watching. They decided to leave the house. But the front door wouldn't open. It wasn't locked. It just didn't exist anymore. Beyond the frame was only blackness, as if the outside world had been erased. Jess started crying. Sam kicked the door until his foot bled. Then they heard it, a faint voice, coming from the mirror. Nina, softly. "It's not your turn to hide yet." Clara froze. The voice was coming from inside the mirror. Clara. "Nina." Where are you? Nina. Behind you. They turned. Nothing. But in the mirror, there she was, standing right behind Clara, smiling. Her eyes were black. Her mouth was too wide. Nina. You're supposed to find me. Then her hand reached out, from inside the glass. It pressed against the surface, warping it like liquid. The candle flickered violently. The glass rippled. And for a moment Clara felt fingers wrap around her wrist. When she opened her eyes again, everything was reversed. The room was the same, but wrong, dimmer, colder, silent. The candle burned blue. She looked around. Jess and Sam were gone. But in the mirror, she could see them, standing in the real room, staring at her reflection, screaming her name. She tried to yell back, but no sound came out. On the other side, Jess cried, her hands against the glass. Jessie, Clara, can you hear me? But Nina's reflection stood beside her now, whispering things Jess couldn't hear. Then Jess did something she shouldn't have. She touched the mirror. It happened fast. The glass cracked, spiderwebbing outward, as if something inside was pushing through. Jess screamed as her reflection's face twisted, eyes bleeding, mouth opening wider and wider until it split at the corners. Nina's voicey. There's room for all of us here. Clara slammed her fists against the glass from the inside, but the surface felt like stone. Jess's body jerked, her reflection pulling her in. Sam grabbed her, screaming, but she vanished into the mirror, leaving only a smear of blood across the glass. Then, slowly, her reflection smiled and walked away into the darkness beyond. Sam lost it. He smashed every mirror in the house, hallway, bathroom, the ones in the bedrooms. But every piece of broken glass showed a different version of Nina. Dozens of them, crawling through reflections, whispering, "You shouldn't have looked." The more he broke, the louder it got. Until finally, in the silence that followed, Clara's reflection, the real Clara, stepped out of the cracked mirror, gasping for air. She fell to the floor, shivering, pale, her eyes wide. Sam, we're leaving. Now. They ran. No bags, no phones, just the sound of rain following them through the woods. When they reached the main road, dawn was breaking. The farmhouse looked small, harmless, like nothing ever happened. They never found Nina or Jess. The police searched the area. No signs of struggle. No bodies. But when the landlord was questioned, he said something strange. "Landlord, that house doesn't have a hallway mirror." Clara insisted it did. She even described the carved frame, the cracked glass, the faces in the wood. The man just shook his head. That mirror was removed 30 years ago, after a family died in that same room. They said their daughter was playing some kind of mirror game. Months later, Clara tried to move on. But she couldn't sleep. She'd wake up to faint whispers. Counting. 1, 2, 3. Then, one night, she went into her bathroom and froze. The mirror was fogged over, but she saw 3 handprints pressed from the inside. And faintly through the mist, 2 shadows moved. They looked like Jess and Nina, behind her reflection. Nina's whisper, "Your turn to hide." Clara screamed and smashed the mirror, glass shattering everywhere. But the reflection stayed, frozen in mid-motion, smiling. Clara's apartment was found a week later. No forced entry, no blood, just shards of mirror on the floor, and 4 names scratched into the wall: Clara, Nina, Jess, Sam. But here's the thing. Only one reflection was missing from the mirror. The voice lowers, breath trembling. So if you ever find yourself alone, staring into your own reflection, and the light flickers for no reason, don't blink. Because sometimes it's not your reflection that's moving. So whispered echo fades into silence. Your turn to count.